In the realm of the supernatural, nothing is more terrifying than the unseen, especially when it can move objects, make sounds, and instill fear. Welcome to the world of poltergeists. These spectral entities, unseen but ever-present, are known for their mischievous and often malevolent activities. Imagine a ghostly presence that not only haunts but interacts with the physical world in a tangible, often terrifying way. They can move your belongings, create chilling sounds, and manipulate the environment to their will. Their antics range from harmless pranks to terrifying displays of power, turning the familiar into the unfamiliar, the safe into the threatening. These entities are not bound by the laws of our reality. They exist in the shadows, just beyond the corner of your eye. Their presence is felt rather than seen, and their actions inexplicable and frightening. Now imagine living with such an entity that's not just unseen but also malevolent. This is not a mere imagination, but a reality for the Freeling family, the protagonists of our story. In the heart of a picture-perfect suburban neighborhood, the Freelings were living an idyllic life. A family of 5, Steve and Diane, their 3 children, Dana, Robbie, and little Carol Ann, along with their golden retriever, Buzz. Their life was as normal as any other American family, until one day, things started to veer off from the ordinary. It started subtly, chairs moving on their own, strange noises in the middle of the night, and television sets switching on and off spontaneously. The family laughed it off at first, attributing it to a quirk of their house. But, as the days passed, the occurrences grew more frequent and more terrifying. Utensils would fly around the kitchen, the tree in their backyard seemed to come alive, and their daughter, Carol Ann, began communicating with unseen entities through the television. The family's laughter soon turned into apprehension. The fear was palpable, the air thick with uncertainty. The Freelings could no longer deny the truth. They were living in a house possessed by a poltergeist. The realization hit them hard. The walls of their safe haven were now the walls of a haunted house. Their sanctuary had turned into a playground for a malevolent force. Their children were not safe within the confines of their own home. The fear was not just about the inexplicable occurrences anymore. It was about the safety of their children, especially little Carol Ann, who seemed to be the epicenter of these supernatural events. The Freelings were normal people thrust into an abnormal situation. They were a family that loved each other deeply, and this love would become their strength in the face of the unknown. They were scared, but they were not ready to give up. They were ready to fight. But as the Freeling family would soon discover, this was only the beginning. As days turned into weeks, the poltergeist's activities escalated, turning from playful to downright terrifying. The Freelings, once a normal suburban family, found themselves living in a house of horrors. Their home, a sanctuary turned prison, was under siege by an unseen force, a poltergeist, whose intentions were becoming increasingly malevolent. At first, the supernatural occurrences were almost charming, like a magic trick or a parlor game. Chairs stacked themselves on kitchen tables. Kitchenware danced in midair. But as the days wore on, the family's amusement turned to dread. The pranks were no longer harmless. The spectral hands that once moved furniture now seemed intent on harm. The poltergeist's activities reached a fever pitch with the terrifying disappearance of the youngest Freeling child, Carol Ann. A sweet, innocent girl, Carol Ann had been the first to notice the poltergeist's presence. She would talk and laugh with the unseen entity, her parents dismissing her claims as the wild imagination of a child. But the truth was far more chilling. One night, a violent storm swept through their town. As the wind howled and the lightning flashed, Carol Ann was drawn to the flickering television screen. Her small hand reached out, touching the static-filled screen as she whispered, "They're here." From that moment, the poltergeist's interest in Carol Ann became an obsession. The tension in the house escalated until, one night, Carol Ann vanished. Her terrified screams echoed through the house, her family helpless to save her. The once lively child was now just a voice, a spectral whisper on the other side of the television screen. She was there, yet not there, trapped somewhere between their world and the next. With their daughter vanished into thin air, the Freelings were forced to confront the horrifying reality of their situation. They were not just dealing with a mischievous spirit. They were facing an entity of unknown power and malevolence, a poltergeist whose terrifying games were just beginning. In the face of such terror, the Freelings had no choice but to fight back. Their little girl was lost, trapped in an unseen world, a prisoner to the poltergeist. Desperation and fear fueled their resolve, driving them to employ the help of parapsychologists and a spiritual medium. Their home had become a battleground, their enemy, a force unseen but not unfelt. The parapsychologists, experts in the inexplicable, armed with their scientific instruments and theories, tried to bridge the gap between reality and the supernatural. Their equipment buzzed and whirred, capturing readings that defied belief, a testament to the power they were up against. But it was the spiritual medium who became their greatest ally. A diminutive woman, but her spirit was enormous. She was their guide through the darkness, a beacon in the chaos. She spoke of the light, of the other side, providing them a glimmer of hope amidst the terror. Her words, though strange and unsettling, brought comfort. They were not alone in their fight. The climax was a battle of wills, a tug of war between the living and the dead. The Freelings, driven by love and desperation, against the Poltergeist, a force of pure malice and chaos. It was a fight that would test their courage, their faith, and their bond as a family. In a thrilling climax, the Freeling family faced their fears and fought for their lives. Their home, their sanctuary, had become a war zone, but they would not be driven out. They would not be broken. But even after the battle was won, the war was far from over. The Freeling family, though victorious, found themselves in a world forever changed. The echoes of their harrowing encounter reverberated through their lives, a chilling reminder that the veil between our world and the next is thin and easily torn. The haunting continued, setting the stage for more spectral battles to come. In the world of poltergeists, it seems, peace is only temporary. So remember, the next time something goes bump in the night, it might just be a poltergeist saying hello.